watching this on repeat though, but hi, I'm Bob the Canadian. I hope that I am going to try and answer as many questions as I can this morning. So hopefully we don't have any technical difficulties. Yesterday we had a few technical problems. It looks like we might be okay, but let me just check my audio to be sure for a minute. So once again, welcome to this English lesson. Repeat though, but hi, I'm Bob the Canadian. I think it sounds like everything's working really good. I am going to try and answer as many. Excellent. Sorry to pause there for a bit. I am still here. So hopefully we don't have any technical. Excellent. So anyways, if you are new here, the way this works is Todd and Nightbot will be posting a link in the chat. Sorry, maybe your chat's down there, and you could use that link to ask a question about the English language. I know many of you are practicing your English today, and you might have a couple questions about certain weird things about the English language. So, and I just want to start also by saying my family and I are home. We're well. We're in the same situation as many of you. We are going to be spending a lot of time at home for the next little while. So it's good to see everyone saying hi in the chat. So hi to Luciano, hi Silvio, hi Medea, hi. I can't say hi to everyone because there are so many people here already, but welcome. Let me jump over and get the first question. The first question is from Vitali Smirnoff. Vitali is a regular learner on by the way. Is there panic? We are overbuying buckwheat in Russia. So I was thinking about doing a video, maybe next Friday, I'll do a video on vocabulary to talk about coronavirus. But for now, I just thought we would do normal lessons so we can all feel normal. There is not a lot of panic in Canada. By the way. So far in Canada, we are overbuying. Things are going really well. Sorry, I kind of forgot your question there because I was checking some audio. To talk about. I should just stop worrying about it. Todd will tell me if things aren't going well. There is no overbuying except for toilet paper. I think we're in the same situation as most of the world. There is a little bit of panic when it comes to buying toilet paper. Let's get to the next question though. Nadia has the next question. Hey Bob, I hope you and your family are safe and healthy. Yes, we are. I'm French. I wonder why sometimes English people pronounce the T in often and sometimes not. I think it depends on how fast we are talking. So often when I'm trying to make a point, I will say the T. So often when I'm at school, I will say to students, I am talking to you too often about this behavior. But when I'm talking to a friend, I might say, oh yeah, we go to the theater pretty often. So you'll hear I just kind of slur the word often together. So it really depends on how fast we are talking and how clearly we are speaking at the time. Owen de Leon says, hello, Teacher Bob. My question is about pronunciation. How to pronounce can't, beach, sit, and sheet. Because I'm afraid if I pronounce it something negative. Yeah, so you have to be a little bit careful. So in the summer when it's warm, we go to the beach and we sit in the sand and we swim in the water when we go to the beach. Right now I am sitting in a chair. I like to sit in a chair. And the other word was sheet. So on my bed there is a sheet. And then also the first word you gave was can't. So I can give you pronunciations. I hope that you guys don't mind. Sorry, that didn't make any sense. Why am I so distracted this morning? I should just relax. I'm going to take a minute to relax and I will continue. So I can't relax this morning. There, I used the word can't in a sentence for you. Maybe I'll have a sip of tea. If everyone has a sip of tea, then we can just calm down and relax, or at least I can. Let me get the next question. Lily from Vietnam has the next question. And the next question is, what is the difference between primary workers and secondary workers? Is blue collar worker the primary worker? Can you give examples of each group? So we have two kinds of workers in the English language. We have white collar workers, which are people like teachers and lawyers. And we have blue collar workers, which are people like construction workers. Right now, too, we have two kinds of workers. We have essential services, where people are essential in a time of crisis like this. So doctors, nurses, firefighters, police officers, those would be essential services. And we also have non-essential. So yes, so blue collar, so it's actually collar, not color. So it's blue collar. So this is my collar. A white collar worker is someone like a doctor or a lawyer or a teacher, and a blue collar worker is someone who works in a factory or in construction. Thank you, Zumrad Alex, for the super chat. Oh, sorry, for the sticker. I'll show you my mug. You gave me the coffee mug. This is my mug. This was sent to me from, oh, sorry, I can't remember your name now. Hope that's bad, eh? But it says English is weird, but I love it. So thank you again for the mug. I will have to go back and look up who sent this to me a couple of months ago. Anyways, let's move to the next question. I'm lollygagging a bit. I don't know if you know what that word means, but when you lollygag, it means you are dragging your feet. That's another English phrase, isn't it? It's when you're not going as fast as you should. Let's see here. Olga says, hey Bob, good to see you. What is the other ways to say kindergarten? Is it nursery school, and what is the difference? So in Canada, we have kids start school in junior kindergarten, and they do that around age 4, and then they go to senior kindergarten. Before that, they go to daycare. We don't usually use the word nursery school in Canada very often. Usually kids are in daycare, where they are dropped off somewhere and someone takes care of them while the parents go to work. And then they go to junior kindergarten, and then they go to senior kindergarten. So those are the 3 levels of early education in Canada. Next question is from Alexander from Ukraine. What is the difference between whole and entire? So I ate the whole cookie. I ate the entire cookie. In that sentence, they mean exactly the same thing. Let's see here. Next question is from Shala. Hi Bob, how are you? I hope you are always doing great. Could you please tell me, what does snuggle mean? So when you snuggle with someone, let's say you're watching a movie with your boyfriend or girlfriend, and you sit really close together on the couch, and your boyfriend or girlfriend puts their head on your shoulder, we would say that you are snuggling. So snuggling is when 2 people sit really close together. Maybe you have a really small child who's 2 or 3, and they jump up and they sit in your lap because they want to snuggle. So it's when 2 people sit really close together. So when our kids were really little, sometimes they would sit with Jen because they wanted to snuggle. They just wanted to sit with their mom to feel happy and to feel peaceful. Next question is from Nexion. Hello, Bob. Hope you are well. I am well. My question is how to use in between. So if you have a row of things, let's say we have a row of plants in the garden, and this is a bean plant, and this is a bean plant, but in between there is a tomato plant. So when something is in between, it's between 2 other things. So let me see here. Let me clean up my questions, and then I will get to the next question. So here we go. Sayid has the next question. So Sayid says, how to improve vocabulary for informal letter and conversation? Is phrasal verbs a good option? Yes, you should always be learning your phrasal verbs. It is just extremely important when you are listening to English speakers and when you want to sound more like a native speaker that you use phrasal verbs. I know they're challenging and they don't make a lot of sense, but certainly learning to use those well will help you in your informal conversation. I'm just going to pause and say hi to everyone who's here. Don't forget that use the chat for English conversation. Please do not use the chat to ask questions. It's just too overwhelming. I can't answer that many questions that quickly. So please use the form, and please use the chat just to chat with each other, to talk about the things that I'm talking about. So next one is from Why Hi. Teacher Bob, what is the difference between compare and contrast, and what is it used for? So when I compare 2 things, I talk about how they are similar. Okay, so if I was to compare and contrast myself to my brother and I sound the same. My brother and I look the same. If I was to contrast myself with my brother, I would talk about how we are different. So my brother is much taller than me. My brother is much better looking than me. I think he is, but anyways. So when you compare, you talk about how 2 things are similar. When you contrast, you talk about how 2 things are different. Let's see here. Next question is, super chat from Elias Gomez. Thanks, Elias, very much. Says, hello, Professor Bob. Are you okay? Last week, I missed the live broadcast because it started an hour earlier. Today, I'm here. Yes, sorry about that. There was time change here, so things were a little different. But thanks for the super chat, Elias. Very generous of you. Fabio from Italy says, hello, Bob. What does crackdown mean? Could you make an example with this word? Thanks a lot. So let's say in a certain part of the city, there is a lot of crime. Sometimes the police will have a crackdown, okay? So there's actually two ways to use this. You can say that they have a crackdown in a certain part of the city, or you can say that the police are going to crack down on crime. Notice I used it two different ways. The first version is like a noun, like there is a crackdown. And the second version is they are going to crack down. There's actually a space between crack and down in that usage. So two ways to use it, but it means to kind of get things under control, especially when you are in law enforcement. Let's see here. Next question is from Rosa. Hello, Bob. Among other words, I put the stress in the wrong word. Help me pronounce visited. Together we are strong. Stay home. Thank you. So visited. The other day, actually a couple of weeks ago, I visited my mom. So notice I say visited. I visited my mom. I have not visited my mom now for a week because we are trying to stay home. But I have called my mom. Here's my fake phone again. I have called my mom almost every day just to see how she is doing. And my sister is also making sure that she stops in to make sure my mom has what she needs. So it's a little crazy right now. BR's Acholizados has given me a super chat. Thank you very much. He says, hello, Bob. How much languages do you want to learn? Well, right now I'm comfortable just speaking English and French. But I do, if I was to speak perfect French, which I don't quite speak perfect French, I think the next language I would learn is Chinese, but that usually makes people annoyed because everyone wants me to learn Spanish or Portuguese or Japanese next. But right now I am happy speaking two languages and we'll leave it at that for just a little bit. Let's get to the next question. Excuse me. Next question is from Gabrielle Decker. I know that for the unvoiced TH sound, native speakers do put their tongue between their teeth. However, how does it work with the voiced TH sound? Can you give examples? So if you're talking about like the hard TH, like that and this and there, you can see my tongue like this. This is how I literally say the word this. Like this, doesn't, looks weird, eh? This glass has a John Deere logo on it. It's one of my favorite cups. Notice I call it a cup and a glass. You can do that sometimes in English. So this, you can actually see the tongue. Let's go to the next question. I did just see Gaga in the chat though. Hi Gaga, I want to just say hi specifically to you. Thank you so much for doing subtitles for me in Vietnamese. That's awesome. You are a good person for doing that. Let's see here. Next question is from Irina from Ukraine. Hi, Bob. How do we pronounce allowed and allowed? Is there any difference? Thanks in advance. So there's no difference. The meaning is different. So when you say something aloud, sometimes we say out loud or aloud, just so you know. It's A-L-O, it's just allowed. And then if you go to the park and go for a walk, that might be allowed, or maybe it's not allowed in your city right now. So they are pronounced the same way. Great question. Let's see. Sayid, what does practice mean in we're practicing social distancing? Thank you. So practice is an interesting word in English because it can mean like you guys are practicing your English. It means that every day you study English, but we also sometimes practice certain behaviors, which doesn't mean we're learning to do it. It means we are doing it. So what right now we are practicing social distancing. All that means is that we are social distancing from each other. We're trying to stay 2 meters apart, or we're trying to stay 6 feet apart, depending on how your measurement. So when you practice the piano, it means that you're learning to play the piano. But when you are practicing social distancing, it means you are doing it. So it's kind of a strange word that way because we use it two ways. Let's see here. Henry from Taiwan. Hi, Henry. Hi, Teacher Bob. What's your take on the panic buying of tissue paper amid the spread of the virus? Thank you. So a lot of people are buying extra toilet paper in Canada and in other countries. In Canada, they say that even though the stores are empty, they are saying that there is lots of toilet paper. Canada is a fairly big producer of toilet paper. And I don't know if it's panic buying, Henry, as much as people are simply buying 1 or 2 extra packages. I know some people are buying 10, but I think most people just feel like if we need to stay home, we better buy 2 packages instead of 1. And that very quickly causes the stores to be empty. So I'm not sure how much of it is panic buying or hoarding. Hoarding is when you keep a lot of stuff to yourself. But I'm not too worried about running out of toilet paper here. Next question is from Lolly Lolly. Bonjour, Bob. I heard this expression, put the old kibosh on the grummelies. I can't find the meaning of grummelies. Merci, Bob. J'ai aucune idée. I have no idea what grummelies means. I have heard kibosh. When you kibosh something, it means that you stop it. But I'm going to say that grummelies sounds very much like a British word. So I have not heard that word before, but it certainly it is fun to say, isn't it? Put the old kibosh on the grummelies. It's kind of, I'll have to look that up later, Lolly. Thanks for the question. Next one, Ying says, greetings from Taipei. Do you worry about COVID-19? Are there still tissues, canned food, or frozen food in the supermarket? So our supermarkets are fairly full of food. Most people aren't doing a lot of grocery shopping today. Most people bought a lot of food in the past week, and most people are just home now. But our government continues to tell us that there is lots of food. Am I personally worried about this? I'm a little bit worried about it. I think because I did have heart surgery a year ago, so I don't want to get this virus because I feel like I have underlying health concerns. So I hope I don't get it. We'll see how things go. I think it's definitely spreading fairly rapidly in Canada now. So, hey, I'm just going to pause and say hi to the 480 people watching. If you're new here, don't forget to subscribe. There's a button somewhere where you can subscribe to the channel. I do create videos every week, short videos for you to learn English. So if you subscribe, you'll get a notification about that. And just a reminder, use the chat to have conversations in English. Try to ask the questions using the form that is shared by Todd. And I just want to recognize again that you'll notice that Dave the Canadian is not here today. He is actually overseas. So he is trying to get back to Canada. We all hope and pray that he will get back here safely. But he left for a trip a couple weeks ago, and he is now kind of stuck. He's hoping to fly back next week, I think Tuesday or Wednesday. So hopefully next Friday, when I do the live stream, we will see Dave back here. But keep him on your mind. But he is currently safe and things are going well. And he has a flight that is coming next Wednesday back to Canada. So hopefully all of that goes well. Abdi says, hello, Mr. Bob. Good to see you again. Thank you very much. How can I improve and amplify my English pronunciation? So one way to improve your pronunciation is to over-pronunciate. And what I mean by that, and this sounds funny, but if you're having trouble saying glasses, try to say glasses. Sorry, that probably didn't look very good. But try to overemphasize the sounds in certain words. Like move your mouth, make your mouth really big when you say certain sounds. And I'm just seeing myself on my screen. I look pretty funny, actually. Yes, so try to overemphasize the sounds. If you need to put your tongue to the roof of your mouth for certain sounds, like try to do it in front of a mirror so you can see that that's happening. When you're making the sound, make sure you visually see your tongue and just try to over-pronunciate. Hey, thank you so much for the super chat. Unfortunately, your name is Minnie. Thank you very much. Hi, my name is Minnie from South Korea. Thank you for your teaching. Thank you for telling me your name because I can't read some alphabets. So thank you very much for the super chat. And I hope that you are doing well in South Korea, Minnie. Thanks a lot. Let's go to the next question, folks. Benio, could you give me examples for the time being and temporarily can be interchangeable? Oh yeah, they're definitely interchangeable. So for the time being, we are going to stay home as much as possible. We are going to temporarily stay home as much as possible. Notice the position in the sentence changed. Like, we are going to stay home for the time being. We are going to stay home temporarily for the time being. Okay, ignore what I said earlier. You can use them interchangeably in the same part of the sentence. So for the time being, we are going to stay home. Temporarily, we are going to stay home. So great question. They mean exactly the same thing. They are actually words or phrases that define each other. Alexandra Alcantara, what's the best way to learn phrasal verbs and how to understand better native speakers? Thanks, from Pernambuco, Brazil. Well, the best way to learn phrasal verbs, if you can act out the phrasal verb, act it out while you're saying it. So if you are going to cut up a piece of paper, actually cut up a piece of paper and say, I am cutting up a piece of paper. If you are going to jump out of a tree. Don't do that. Don't hurt yourself while you're doing this. But if you can do the action, it will help you a lot to remember the actual verb itself. Laura Ramirez, thank you so much for becoming a member of the channel. That is very much appreciated. By the way, for those of you that don't know, if you want to thank me, you do not need to thank me, but if you want to thank me, you can join the channel. There is a link in the description below. And what you get is your name gets to be in green and you get a little crown by your head or by your name when we do live streams. But mostly people become members just to say thank you. So some people join for a month and say buy a coffee or buy Todd a coffee. But thank you, Laura Ramirez, for becoming a member. That is very, very nice of you. Let's get to the next question. Yeah, so I didn't notice this yesterday. Ario says, hello, Mr. Bob. Congrats for 400,000 subscribers. My question, have you visited the page called Darman? He's a motivator. I've been following his page on Facebook. I have not. I have to admit, Bob the Canadian does not need a lot of motivation in life. I'm very self-motivated. When you are self-motivated, it means that you are just always trying new things. You don't need someone to motivate you. But I understand it can be very helpful to have someone that is very motivational to listen to. So cool. Thank you for sharing. Next question is from Ramon Cuba. Ramon Cuba says, hi, Bob. I'm following you for 2 years. That's awesome, Ramon. Thank you very much. Recently, I moved to Canada for a new start. My question is ways to say when someone has a high salary. Thank you so much. It's very simple. We usually just say, someone who plays professional basketball gets paid a lot, or we say that they make a lot of money. That's simply how we say it. So if you know someone who has a really good job, you could just say, oh, they make good money. They make a lot of money. They get paid a lot. All of those would be great ways to describe someone who makes a lot of money. Let's see here. Bushira, hello, Bob teacher. What is the difference? I haven't seen you and I didn't see you. So, excuse me. If I say to someone, oh, I haven't seen you yet today, or I haven't had a chance to talk to you yet today, or if I say, I didn't see you yet today, they mean almost the same thing. They're slightly different, but basically both of them are the negative of having seen someone. So if I did see someone, I would say that I saw them. If I didn't see someone, I would say that I hadn't seen them today. I didn't use haven't. I would say I hadn't seen them yet today, and I would say that I didn't see them yet today. So you could say I have not seen him today, but slight difference. I'm not explaining that well. Careful there, because if I'm talking about another person, I could say, I have not seen John today, or I could say, I did not see John today. Okay, those mean the same thing. But if I say, I had not seen John today, that has to be part of a longer sentence, okay? Like when I had lunch, I had not seen John yet. So I'm adding it into a compound sentence there, a little more difficult than I'm able to explain in a live stream. So hopefully that made some sense. There's a few there's a few example sentences there for you to listen to. Sayid Akil Shah says, "Hi Bob, how are you and Sister Jen? Sir, it seems that I am addicted to you." Laughing out loud, the difference between chip and break, can we use skew and tamper interchangeably? Thanks. So I hope you're addicted to learning English. That would be really good. But how is Jen? Jen is doing well. Even though we aren't sure how many flowers we will sell, we are actively planting flowers right now so that in a couple of months we have lots. As to your question, if this mug was chipped, if there was a chip here, there would be like a little piece missing. But if I break this mug, I can't use it anymore. So often a glass or mug, actually you can't see it, but this glass actually has a chip in it right here. There's a chip in it. But if you break something, you can't use it. And then you used the word skew and tamper. We don't use the word skew very often. When you have something and it's skewed, it's shifted a little bit. But when you tamper with something, if there's a lock and you try to stick something in it that isn't a key, you would be tampering with the lock. So they are different for sure. Let me clean up my questions here. And let me get to the next question. I'm sorry, I'm having trouble placing it. So Arturo says, what is the meaning of lit up? In the winter in Canada, people put Christmas lights on their houses and then their house is lit up. So it means that there are a lot of lights. Some people like to put a lot of extra lights on their vehicle. And then you could say that their car or vehicle is lit up. It has some other meanings as well, but those would be the most common meanings. Valerie from Ukraine, hi Bob, do you own a gun? Even though I live on a farm, I do not own a gun. When I was younger, I had what's called an air rifle. So you put a pellet in it and then you use air to shoot the pellet. And I liked to shoot at targets, but I do not own a gun on the farm. No, not at all. In Canada, there is not a lot of gun ownership. In the United States, many people have guns, but in Canada, a lot less people have guns. People who hunt have guns, and sometimes farmers have guns, but I do not. Let's see here. Mia says, hello, Teacher Bob. It's great to see you again. I was wondering if you could share some of the pluses and minuses of working at a school in Canada. So when you say pluses and minuses, you're talking about the good things and the bad things. A good thing about working at a school in Canada is that even though people are losing their jobs right now, so far I will still be working in a pandemic situation. I need to teach from home next week. One of the other pluses is that I just really like teaching things to high school age students. It's very enjoyable for me. I have very nice students in my classes and I really like my job. One of the minuses, I think, is that sometimes you know that what you are teaching will be good for students and sometimes they don't want to learn it. So that's a struggle sometimes for sure. Let's see here. For those of you who are saying that Vitali says, I hope burglars don't watch the live stream. We do have a dog and he gets pretty mean if people come on the property. So anyways, let's go to the next one. Vita from Ukraine, could you explain the words rigorous, ruthless, and reckless? Thank you in advance. You are the best. So when you are rigorous, it means you do a really good job at something. Okay. So if I go and I'm like, okay, I'm just going to work up this soil. I'm going to be very rigorous when I work up this soil with a hoe. It means I'm doing a good job. If you, let's move on. If you are ruthless, it means that you are not a nice leader. So you don't care about people. You want to get something done instead of taking care of people if you are a leader of an organization. And then the last one, when you are reckless, like if you drive your car 180 kilometers an hour, we would say that you are reckless. You are not thinking about the danger that you might cause to other people. So that's those three right there. Hopefully that. Should I learn grammar to improve my language skills or not? So on the vocabulary question, the best way to remember vocabulary is to use it. If you learn a word, write the word, say the word, use it in a sentence while you're saying it out loud. If you are learning the vocabulary, like if you learn glasses, try to just like say to yourself, I am picking up my glasses. I am putting on my glasses. I am taking off my glasses. The more you use a word, even if it's just in a pretend conversation, the more likely you are to remember it. And then second to that is just use a flashcard set or use Anki or Quizlet or something that you can use to drill it into your mind. We use the word drill to say to practice. So practice, practice, practice is the best way. Let's see here. Next question is from Oji. Hi, Bob. How are you? I'm going to tell you that Indonesians like to smile a lot to everybody, even strangers. Does it seem odd in Canada when strangers smile to you? No. Canadians are quite friendly to each other. I did have a friend visit from another country this summer, and we went to the lake, and he thought it was strange because I kept saying hi to the people who were fishing at the lake. He kept asking if they were friends of mine because in his country, he said you would never say hi to a stranger. So he found it quite odd that I would talk directly to people that I didn't know. Let's see here. Excuse me. Dai from Vietnam. Hi, Bob. In which case should I use seek, search, find, and look for? These words really confuse me. Here's a few examples. First, for the word seek, seek means to look for, but we do not use that word very much. Okay, I wouldn't say I'm going to seek out a few new friends. We would instead say I'm going to look for or I'm going to find new people to hang out with, okay? When you search, let me get back to that word. If I can't find my keys, I will search for them. I will look for them. I will try to find them. Notice I modified it a little bit. But usually we use the word look for, okay? So if I didn't have a pen, I would go look for a pen. If I didn't know where my car keys were, I would look for my car keys. Mostly I would say, Jen, have you seen my car keys? That's how Bob the Canadian finds his car keys. He just asks Jen if she has seen them. Next question. I gotta click down here. Sagar from India. What is the meaning of AD? Like he is born in 1908 AD. So it means Anno Domini. I think you'll have to look it up. It is a Latin term. It simply means, we have BC, before Christ, and Anno Domini, which I think means after. But you'll have to look it up because that is how we do our calendar year. Either it's BC or it's AD. Ramon. Next question. Sorry, little pause there. Ramon says, hello, Bob. Will you feel strange about your voice while you're listening to your own voice via a phone? So when I watch my own videos, it doesn't sound like me. I actually think it sounds like my brother because as I said, my brother and I have similar voices. So when I watch I don't like to watch my own videos, by the way. When I'm editing my own videos, I don't like doing it. It just sounds funny. I don't know how many of you have done this, but when you listen to yourself talking, as I said, yeah, it just sounds really strange to me when I do that. So let's see here. Ahmad, hello, our beloved teacher. What is the best age for a kid to go to school in your opinion? I don't know, 5 or 6, somewhere in there. Most of our kids started school at age 5. One of our kids started school at age 4, our youngest. I think as long as a child is ready to go to school, that is a good time to go to school. Let's see. Next question is from Henry. Hi, Bob. I am Henry, originally from South Korea. Hello, Henry. At the moment, I am staying in Auburn, United States of America. I got a message from the teacher, rise and shine. What is the definition of that? So this is an English phrase that we say in the morning. And we usually say to someone who is sleeping when we are waking them up. So we will say, rise and shine, time to get the day started. So what we're saying is rise, like get up from bed. And then shine is like, how the sun rises every morning and then it shines. We're telling people to do the same thing. So rise and shine. So we want people to get up, be alert, and get their day started. Let me clean up my questions here for a sec. Masha says, Masha from Ukraine. Hello, Bob. Hello. Could you explain the difference between at some point and at one point? Can you use them interchangeably? In what situations are they usually used? So they are slightly different, okay? So one is referencing an indefinite point. So if I said to someone, you should go for a walk, but at some point you should do some arm exercises while you are walking. I guess you should pretend you're flying like a bird. So basically what I'm saying is if you go for a 30-minute walk, at some point, it doesn't matter when, but at some point you should do some arm exercises during your walk, okay? But when I use the phrase at one point, it's usually when I'm talking about the past. If I say, the other day I was driving my car, and at one point, like a specific point in time, a light came on the dashboard, okay? So at some point is kind of indefinite, but at one point is very definite. So it's just simply a matter of whether you're referring to, a specific part of time, at one point this happened. Let's see here. Next question from Kismo. Let me get that pasted. I'm having trouble pasting. Kismo says, hi, Teacher Bob. Could you show me your normal speed when you talk with your friends? Thanks. Sure. Let me just think this through because I don't want to talk too fast, but I just started talking what I would think is my normal speed. This morning when I got up, I said to Jen, I need to get down to the computer and schedule my live stream. Usually the night before I take a picture of myself and I have it all ready to go and I have my studio set up. But last night I went to bed without doing that. So this morning I got up, quickly made my cup of coffee, came to this corner of my studio, and I quickly got things all set up. I got everything scheduled on that computer. I got my laptop set up. I got my phone and my microphone set up. So that is probably as close to normal speed as I get. You can notice I just slowed down a little bit again. But I am a fairly fast talker in normal life, and I do slow down a bit when I am doing videos or when I'm doing live lessons. Or when I'm talking to someone who I don't think is listening very well. I usually slow down. Let's see here. Agrippina, good evening, sir. Could you please explain the difference between nonetheless and nevertheless? Thank you in advance. There might be some mistakes. Sorry, I don't see any mistakes. But nonetheless or nevertheless mean almost exactly the same thing. I'm going to look them up for a sec. We say nevertheless a lot more often, I think. Let's see here. Nevertheless should be used when referring to an event. Nonetheless should be applied to something that is measurable. So there is a difference. I'm going to say to you that in informal English, we use them somewhat interchangeably. So nevertheless, never mind. Sufyan, hi, Teacher Bob. How many accents of English language exist? So many. Even in Canada, we have 2 or 3 different accents. So we have what would be the standard, fairly normal accent, but people from Newfoundland have a different accent. In the United States, there's a Boston or East Coast accent, there's a Southern accent, there's a California accent. And then bigger than that, there's a British accent. In Britain, there are a number of different accents as well. There's an Irish accent, there's a Scottish accent. So people from South Africa have a South African accent when they speak English. So there are many. I don't know how many exactly, but there are definitely many. Let's see here. Next question. Israel says, hi, Bob. Greetings from Mexico. Hello. What's the difference between I wish I was and I wish I were? What does would be able to mean? Thanks a lot. Have a nice day. So if I was to say, I wish I was younger, I could also say, I wish I were younger. But I think the first one is the most correct. I wish I was younger. I wish I was healthier. I wish I was happier every day, although I'm happy most of the time. If I say I wish I were, I would say things like, I wish I were going out today. I wish I were going for a long walk. I don't know. I think we just use I wish I was the most. Let's move to the second one though, would be able to. When you use would, it's conditional. So it means it may or may not happen, okay? So if you were to say, I wish you would be able to come over, you're basically saying, I wish that you could find a way to come over. I don't think I explained that very well. Sometimes I don't. And then I just laugh and move on. I'm sorry about that. But a live lesson, sometimes you get a good explanation, sometimes you get an okay explanation, and that's really all I can do. Let's go to the next question is from, let's see here. Juki Chen from Brazil. Hi, Bob. How are you? Could you give some tips or websites to study for SAT and ACT? So for those of you that don't know, the SAT and the ACT are tests that you take in order usually to study in the United States of America at the university level. Because I am Canadian and I actually went to university in the United States, I needed to take the ACT. I don't remember what the letters stand for, but I needed to basically take a test to prove that I was somewhat knowledgeable about things. The only recommendation I would give is study a lot, study early, and buy a study kit off of Amazon. Like go and search for ACT study kit or SAT study kit and buy something that will help you to prepare for those. Erica has the next question. Erica says, how to sound more like a native speaker. Practice, practice, practice. Every week I tell people that there is a link to Preply in the description. Preply is a great website and app where you can hire a native English speaker to have a conversation with you. The best way to sound more like a native English speaker is to have conversations with native English speakers. So if you are able to spend money to learn English, probably the number one thing I would recommend is that you hire a tutor. There are many ways to do that. I recommend Preply simply because I used it when I was learning French, and it works really, really well. So there's also italki, Cambly. There are many ways that you can spend a little bit of money to get some English practice. Let's see here. Next one. Greg says, hello, sir. Cool caps behind you. Oh, yes, right above my head. There's my caps. Yep. I'm going to start wearing them more because winter is over, so now I can wear my ball caps. Let's see here. Cool caps behind you. When should I use could? When you're saying that you might be able to do something, like I could come over today and help you with some yard work. I could learn another language. So you're not saying that you are going to do it. You're saying that you might be able to do it, okay? It's something that you could do. I know I'm using the word to define it, but that's what I would say for those, Greg. Let me clean up my questions here. Get to the next one. Let's see. I am skipping some grammar questions. So if you did ask a question and it's a very technical grammar question, I usually skip those because I don't want to spend too much time teaching one concept. So I usually choose the questions that I can answer in about 1 minute. Hi, Bob. Do you have difficulty understanding English from England or India? No, it takes about a minute or two for my mind to adjust. And as long as they don't use words I don't know, I can usually understand them. And even when they use English words that aren't common here, I could usually figure it out, right? Like if someone from Australia says, hey, do you want a cuppa? I think the fact that they're holding a mug out makes me understand what they are saying. So most English speakers, it takes a minute or two and we can mentally adjust and understand most of the English accents. Although a very strong Scottish accent, if someone is speaking English with a strong Scottish accent, that's challenging for me sometimes. Let's see here. Olga, how will it be correct to start a sentence? We and I are going to do something, or we and me. So you would just say we, okay? So we don't say either of those. If my family was going to go out today, I would say we are going to go out today. We're not going out today, by the way. We're staying home. But we would not say we and I or we and me. Just we don't. What you can say is I'm going out with them, right? So if you're referring to another group of people, or you could say, let me just think this through for a sec. My friends and I are going to a movie. My family and I are going out. So if you define the we a little bit differently, that works. Hand Turk Culture, thank you so much for becoming a member. You get a little crown beside your name now in the chat, and your name will be green. And I really appreciate your support of my channel. Thank you so much. Let's get to the next question. Let me just check here. Oh, there's a lot of questions. I'm going to move a bit faster, I think. Let me do like rapid fire round. Rapid fire is when you do something really quickly. Nick from Boris Globesk. Hi, Bob. What do you usually say when someone is trying to be kind and polite, but in fact, he is rude and arrogant person? I usually don't say anything when people are being rude or arrogant. I'm usually just someone who's like, very, very nice. Okay, interesting. And then I just move on. I'm not a confrontational person normally, although sometimes I am. Dakar says, when do we use I were instead of I was? We never say I were. It is always I was. So you would say they were. I was at the beach. They were at the beach. It's a conjugation of the verb. You just have to make sure you are using the right subject. Next question. Wilter, I need to know what is the difference between sky and heaven? So in Spanish, we only have one word for this, cielo. So basically, sky is what's above you. In religious terms, heaven is where you go after you die. But we do sometimes refer to the sky as the heavens, okay? So at night, there's a lot of stars in the heavens, but we usually use the word sky, okay? So usually heaven is reserved for religious conversations, and sky is reserved for just talking about what's above us, the blue sky, the night sky, etc. Nazir has the next question. Nazir from India. Hi, Teacher Bob. Have you got a sec? If I ask this question, will all native speakers get it? When I asked my teacher, he didn't get me. It depends how you say it, and it is very informal. So if you say, have you got a sec? What you're really saying is, do you have a second? So slow it down, and instead of the short form of second, don't say sec, say second, and just say, do you have a second? Do you have a moment? Could you help me for a second? Do you have a moment to answer a question? So slow it down, but we do say, do you have a sec? Okay, it's a very common informal phrase, but you will even use this at work, even though it's informal. I'll say to someone, hey, do you have a sec? I just have a question over here. Do you have a sec? I really slur that together, eh? Do you have a sec? Do you have a sec? Do you have a second? Do you have a sec? So anyways, let's see here. Chico has the next question. Hello, Bob. Does your brother do Bitcoins? My brother and I looked into cryptocurrency a few years ago. Didn't get too much into it, but we have a pretty good understanding of how it works. It's mathematically an interesting field. That's about as far as I would go with it. Mohammed Salama. Hi, Bob. What is the best way to memorize the words and to increase the vocabulary, and how to overcome forgetting them? So the best way to learn vocabulary is to just to read. Like if you need to accumulate more vocabulary, read. The best way to remember it is to immediately use it somehow, either by taking notes while you read, using flashcard sets, saying the words out loud. The more you can make the words go through your brain, the more you will be able to remember them. Next, we have Nathan GR. Hi, Nathan. Good to see you. Hey, Teacher Bob, how are things? Could you please explain the word congregate or congregation? Thanks in advance. So when people congregate, it means that they are gathering in a certain area, okay? So when there's like a town square, and sometimes people start to congregate if there is a band playing. So it means people kind of come to the town square and they all start to stand and watch the person play. So they begin to congregate. A congregation is actually more of a religious term. So when people gather in a religious building, we call them a congregation. So slightly different meanings, but the words are definitely cousins of each other. They're related. Let's see here. Vet, hello. Could you please tell me when I can use upper, further, higher with education? Thank you. So upper education, further education, higher education. We don't use upper too much in Canada, but we do use, sometimes we say that adult education, we call it further education. And sometimes we call higher education referring to universities. So that would be the difference there. Still trying to go as fast as I can. Not sure if you guys are enjoying it. But I was trying to get through all the questions. I don't know if I will. We'll see. Vladimir, hello, Bob. Greetings from Colombia. In Canada, they are quarantined by COVID-19. So we aren't in lockdown in Canada. We are in what we would call a state of emergency. We are being told by the government to only go out if we need to. We are being told by the government not to gather in large groups. We are being told by the government, try to only do what's essential. So we need later this week to go get groceries. We will go out to get groceries. We are being told by the government to work from home if that is possible. So for someone like me who is a teacher, I will be working from home. So that's the situation right now. Let's see here. Next question is from Halim. Hi, Bob. I am Halim from Indonesia. Please explain how to use yet in a sentence. So, oh, just a sec. I'm going to turn off my screensaver. There we go. Let's talk about parachuting. I haven't done that yet. So basically, I use the word yet to indicate that it's something that I am going to do, maybe, probably never. So when you say I haven't done that yet, it means that you are going to do it, maybe at a future time. Let's see here. Junggu Kang. Hi, Bob. I'm a big fan of you. Thank you so much, John. I have a question. What is the difference between stockpile and panic buying? Thank you a lot. Or thanks a lot. So stockpiling is when you buy a lot of things, not too many. Like maybe you buy 2 of each thing instead of 1 because you want to stockpile some food. Panic buying is when you buy 20 of everything and you buy 3 grocery carts full of stuff, enough food to last 3 months. That's panic buying. And then we also have something called hoarding. Hoarding is when you buy a lot of things because you're afraid that there won't be things in the stores later. So those are 3 ways. And I should do a lesson on coronavirus or COVID-19 vocabulary. I'll do that maybe next Friday. Let me think about it. It's nicer sometimes just to learn about something fun, but I think a lot of you could use that lesson. Dimitri, hello Bob. Thank a lot for your great work. Could you please explain the difference between whole and entire? For example, the whole world and the entire world. Be well, thank you. We use those 2 words interchangeably a lot, okay? So I could say I drank the whole cup of tea. I drank the entire cup of tea. We could say that around the entire world or around the whole world, people are a little bit worried right now. So they mean, in those situations, they mean the same thing. Let's see here. This is from Nina. Hi, sir. Could you tell me when do we say, for example, I do need and I need, or other examples like I do? So we add the word do to kind of emphasize. So I could say, I go for a walk every day. I can also say, I do go for a walk every day. When I add the word do, it's because I want to make a stronger point or I want to emphasize what I am saying. Okay, so if someone said to me, you don't do a live stream twice a week, do you? I could say, I do a live stream twice a week. There, I used the word twice in a row, but that was correct, by the way. So sometimes we use it to emphasize. We add a do. Next question. Mir says, hi, Bob. Hi, Mir. I'm going to correct you a bit here. What does it mean to push yourself? In English, when you say you push yourself, let's say, actually, here's a good example. Yesterday, I did not feel like going for a walk. I was feeling lazy, but I pushed myself to go for a walk. That means in my mind, I convinced myself that I needed to go for a walk. Okay, so when you push yourself, it means that you think about the good things that will come about if you do the thing you don't want to do. So I pushed myself. Some weeks I push myself to make a new video. Believe it or not, sometimes I don't feel like making a video. Like once every 20 weeks or so. And then I just push myself because I think, just make it. Let's see here. Next question is from Elias Gomez. Hi, Elias. Thanks for the super chat, by the way. Could you pronounce the word headache? And is there another way of saying it? Thanks. No, it's just headache. When your head hurts a lot, you say, I have a headache. I have a really bad headache. Some people have what's called a migraine. I don't get migraines, but a migraine is a severe headache, okay? But mostly people just have a normal headache every once in a while. So yesterday I had a headache, so I took some Advil and then it went away. Let's see here. Shireen, hello, Mr. Robert. Thank you for your time and efforts. My question is how I can stop translating from my native language and boost my brain to think in English. Thanks. It just takes time. Eventually, everyone's brain will flip into thinking in the native language. It does really help to talk out loud about what you're doing in English as you're doing it when there are no other people around. So you can do it without saying it out loud, but I usually recommend you say it out loud. So you say things like, I'm going to the coffee shop, I'm walking into the coffee shop, I'm getting out my wallet, I'm going to buy a coffee, I would like a coffee, I would like a donut, this coffee is tasty, I'm really glad I bought this coffee, I'm leaving the coffee shop. Sorry, that was a lot of examples, but if you in your mind or out loud say in English what you are doing as you say it, that will help your brain. I think this is not scientifically proven, but that will help your brain to start thinking in the English language. Next question. Dimitro from Ukraine. Hi, Bob. What is the difference between bloom and blossom? How do you describe when trees have flowers in the spring? And what do birds in the spring, did they chirp or sing? So first of all, for me, a blossom is a flower on a tree. A bloom is usually when a flowering plant creates flowers. We say that they are blooming or they have a lot of blooms, okay? I don't know if that's correct scientifically. I just know that when I see a tree with flowers on it, I refer to them as blossoms, okay? You should look it up though to make sure. And as for your second part of your question, birds chirp and birds sing. They do both in the spring. In fact, there are birds chirping right now outside. You probably can't hear them. There have been a lot of birds chirping lately. Excuse me. I need a sip of tea. Ruslan says, hello, Teacher Bob. Best wishes from Russia. Could you advise how to think in English? Yes, just did that. Narrate your life. Talk out loud or in your mind about everything you are doing in life. Irvi, what does it mean, Grace Under Pressure? Thanks for your answer. Well, first of all, it's the title of an album from the Canadian band Rush. It's a great album, by the way, Grace Under Pressure. But what it means is to remain calm and to remain kind when things are going wrong. So let's say right now in the world, things are going a little bit wrong. When you're calm and kind and helpful to people, that means that you are having grace under pressure. Hi, Yim Chan. Good to see you here. Thank you very much for being a member. It's awesome of you. Let's see here. Papichulis. So I have to admit, I don't know if I say this right, but Papichulis is one of my favorite names to say. So hi, Pappy. Could you explain how to use stock up on things? So I added a word there. You stock up on things, okay? When you stock up on things, it means you buy a lot of them. So before we needed to stay home for a long time, we stocked up on certain foods. So we stocked up on rice, we stocked up on flour. So we made sure we didn't panic buy. We didn't go to the store and buy 8 of everything, but there were a few things where we bought a little bit extra because we wanted to stock up on them. So next question is a grammar question. I'm going to jump over it. Sorry, Sam Dugan. Derek has the next question. Hi, Bob. I also have pronunciation problems like man and men and main. How to practice that? Thank you, Bob. So I'll use each of them in a sentence. Go back and listen to them and try to mimic what I'm saying. So I am a man. My brother and I are men. And my main job is being a teacher. Okay, so I am a man. My brothers and I are men. And my main job is that I am a teacher. So there's some, I think, fairly clear examples of how to pronounce them. Your job is to kind of rewind the video later today or tomorrow and try to practice those 3. Let's see here. Yeah, this is a fairly generic question. Vu Nguyen from Vietnam. Hello, Mr. Bob. I have a question for you. Can you give me some useful tips to improve speaking skills in English? Thank you so much. So again, at a certain point in time, you have to hire somebody. You can learn to read English by yourself. You can practice your listening skills by yourself. You can, to a certain degree, practice your writing skills. But your speaking, at some point, you do need to hire someone, okay? So figure out if there is an app that you can use. I recommend Preply, but if there is an app that you can use where you can hire someone, that is the best thing that you can do. Next question. Huk Young, hi Bob. It is difficult to read big numbers. How to practice to read numbers. I am awful at reading large numbers in French. It is very, very difficult. It just takes a lot of practice. The number you gave, I think, is, let's see here, 3,435,876. So at least you have that big number to practice from. But I would search for a YouTube video that specifically helps people learn how to practice large numbers. I'm going to wrap this up though, everybody. Sorry I didn't get through all the questions. There's quite a few left and I do need to wrap this up. It has been 1 hour. Thank you so much for being here. If you want to learn a bit more English, please visit my YouTube channel and find some older videos to watch. Every Tuesday I put out a 7 to 10 minute little English lesson. I highly recommend you watch a few of those. Please do watch this video again tomorrow with English subtitles turned on if there were parts that you didn't understand. If you didn't watch yesterday's video, I did a live lesson yesterday about the season of spring. I talked about birds and mud and puddles. You can watch that today too if you want. But overall, just have a really good weekend. This was really fun. I'm glad that I could just give you a little bit of distraction possibly on a day where there are a lot of more serious things to think about. Again, I'm Bob the Canadian. If you are one of the new people here, please subscribe by finding the red button that says subscribe. And then thanks again to all of you who are members and help support this channel. That's just very awesome of you, and I thank you from the bottom of my heart. Anyways, have a good weekend. Have a good rest of your day today. I'm going to push